Welcome to my channel. So I want us to go with this topic of races and racism, and we are still in the Bible. So there was a part in the Bible where I read that the land of Israel, in the days of Solomon and David, that land extended even up to Africa, which means that the land of Israel was even in Africa. It may have begun in the Middle East, but it extended deep into Africa. I know that in the book of the Apocrypha, like Jubilees and others, it says that, but I realize that most people, especially Catholics, disagree with those Apocrypha. But all of us agree with the Bible. The Bible is a historical book, also a spiritual guideline. So, in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 7, whereby Solomon had finished building the temple and he was now dedicating it, it shows how the people had assembled in that place in Jerusalem for the dedication, and there were very many people. So this is 2 Chronicles chapter 7. So let's go to verse 7 and 8. So moreover, Solomon hallowed the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord, for there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat. Also at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt. So Hamath, from what most scholars have said, Hamath is located in the Middle East. That's what most scholars have said. But the river of Egypt is River Nile. So there's no controversy. This says that the people are so many, great congregation, from Hamath all the way up to the river of Egypt. So how could the people be assembling in that place up to River Nile, unless that was part of Israel? You can't expect people to have a rally here in Kenya, and the people are assembling from Kenya to Uganda. Not possible. So this means that the land of Israel, these people, this congregation, they were standing, they were assembling in the land of Israel, which stretched from Hamath up to the river of Egypt. This shows that that land of Israel was from Middle East up to Africa, where River Nile was much farther. In other verses, it says that the land of Israel that David conquered, and even Solomon, reached up to the border of Egypt. That shows that Israel was in all those areas from Middle East up to Africa. So this verse here, verse 8, is very clear. From Hamath to the river of Egypt. Very clear. That's very interesting. So what we are taught in the Sunday schools is that Israel is in the Middle East. But the land was very big. And even that Middle East, it shares the same tectonic plate with Africa. So Middle East is part of Africa. But for today's geography, let's just assume that the land of Israel was from Middle East all the way to Africa, past River Nile. So, but I hope that one day we shall know the truth. Now, also, that is now Israel. So we realize that the land of Israel, it was bordering Edom. Edom is Jacob's brother, Esau. So the land of Israel was bordering even Edom, Philistines, and even those Ammonites and others, and Moabites. They're all sharing the same, they're all neighbors. Just like Kenya is bordering Uganda, Tanzania. So even Israel, they were neighboring with Edom and others, the Philistines. That's how they were always fighting. Countries only fight with their neighbors. You don't expect Kenya to fight with South Africa. You don't expect Kenya to fight with Egypt. That's not common. It happens, but not common. But you see, in the Bible, all this conflict that they were having, Israel, with their neighbors like Philistines, they were sharing borders. among others. So Edom also, it is somehow described here in the Bible. So as a linguist, my academic background is linguistic also, and communication. So I like connecting words. I like connecting names of people with other items to find their meaning. So in the 2 Kings, chapter 8, verse 21, yes, whereby I saw this word Zaire. Zaire. So Joram was a king of Israel. Joram went over to Zaire and all the chariots with him, and he rose by night and smote the Edomites, which compassed him about, and the captains of the chariots, and the people fled into their tents. So Joram was a king of Israel. So he left his country and went over to Zaire, where Edomites were. So Zaire is said to be, it was a land of Edomites. You see, this name Zaire, it is similar to Mount Seir. So Mount Seir was also one of the mountains of Edomites. But in the modern world, Zaire is very similar to Zaire. Zaire was the former name of DRC. The days of Mobutu Sese Seko, it was called Zaire. It was when Mobutu was removed in 1997. It's when the name was changed by Kabila, Laurent Kabila, to DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. But its name was Zaire. So, like I was saying here, that the land of Israel stretched up to Africa. We need to know that Israel, one of its neighbors was Edom. In the book of, I think, Exodus, when the Israelites were going to their promised land, when Joshua was guiding them, God told them that don't attack your brothers, Edom, who you'll meet along the way to your land, because Edom is your brother. So Israel tried to ask them permission to pass through their land. Edom refused. Which shows that the land of Edom was neighboring Israel. And I've said that, we have read here in the Chronicles, that the land of Israel stretched up to Africa, where River Nile is. Now, today's DRC, which is the former Zaire, it's not very far from River Nile. Zaire or DRC actually shares a border with South Sudan, where Nile passes through. Also, it shares a border with Uganda, which is the source of River Nile. So maybe the land of Israel stretched all the way up to that area, and then they shared the border there with Edomites, Zaire. So that land of Israel was very big. It was not small like we see today. It was very big. Very, very big. Because God said the children of Israel were like the sand of the sea. So there were so many people, there were multitude. So that land was very big. Let's look at the maps and see where Israel can be placed according to those Bible verses. Let's look at Israel and even Edom according to those verses that you have read. So we saw that in the days of Solomon, Israel assembled from the entrance of Hamath up to the river of Egypt, or River Nile. So in my estimation, this is how it is. From Hamath, assume that Hamath is in today's Middle East, up to the river of Egypt here. So in my estimation, all of this must have been Israel. Not just this, but all of this part, even going downwards, up to here, Ethiopia, must have been the land of Israel. So even here is a clear picture of River Nile, or the river of Egypt. So let the Bible speak for itself. So even those who don't believe in Apocrypha, the Bible is very clear, from Hamath to the river of Egypt. And the river of Egypt cannot be in Asia. It's River Nile. So Israel must have covered those two areas, two continents, Middle East up to Africa, Northeast Africa. Now, like you have said that King Jotham went to Zaire to conquer the Edomites. Now, Zaire makes me recall the old name of DRC. Today is DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. It used to be called Zaire. From 1960s up to 1997, DRC was called Zaire. And this Zaire, if you remove this E here, it is just Zaire, like in the Bible. So you see that the land of Israel has to border Edom, because Israel or Jacob was a brother of Edom. So their lands must have been neighboring, because they are the sons of one father. Edom is Esau. Esau and Jacob are brothers. They are all sons of Israel. So it's not a coincidence if I assume that their lands are neighboring. So for King Jotham to go to attack Edom, it means that these kingdoms were neighboring each other and they're always having conflicts. So Zaire comes from the word Zaire, from my linguistic analysis. And Zaire was DRC. So if Israel was from Middle East up to this part of Africa like Sudan, let's now assume that now Edom is Central Africa, so this area, including Zaire or DRC. So they were neighbors. So this is Edom, DRC, and Central African Republic, and South Sudan. All this is Edom, neighboring Israel. I hope that makes sense. Israel and Edom, they have to be neighbors because these were brothers. As you can see there, DRC, or formerly Zaire, is one of the River Nile countries, ama the Great Lakes countries. So this part, the eastern part, is Israel, from what you have seen, and then this part here is Edom, or Zaire, or Mount Seir. Even Mount Seir is similar to Zaire. So here is a clear picture. This is the land of Israel. All of this from Middle East here, all of this up to here below Egypt, up to part of Ethiopia, South Sudan, all this is Israel. That's my estimation. And then neighboring there, this area is Edom. So in my view, these kingdoms were in Africa, because even Middle East was part of Africa. It's Northeast Africa. So they were neighbors. So I believe that up here, of course, is Egypt. All of this is Egypt. And then maybe you have Philistine somewhere there. And then down below all this is now what is called Kush. Because Kush or Ethiopia. So all maps show that Ethiopia was Southern Africa. And Atlantic Ocean was called Ethiopian Ocean, or Ethiopian Sea. So below all this was Ethiopia. So Queen of Sheba was called Queen of the South. So when she came to visit Solomon, the Bible says that the Queen of the South. So that makes sense if Kush or Ethiopia was below all this. That's my analysis, which is subject to question or comments. So that is Africa. So I'm not saying that I'm 100% correct, but that's my view from the Bible verses. I may be right about Israel, because the one for River of Egypt, there I will not budge. Because the Bible is very clear. From Hamath to River of Egypt. Even Edom, even there I'm also almost certain. Because Zaire and the word Zaire are almost similar. But I'm not sure about Kush. The one about Southern Africa, about Kush, I'm not very sure. But I'll do more research. So that is now Israel, Edom. So you can see here, Israel can be somewhere here. It was somewhere here, Israel. And then here, on the western part, is now Edom. And then up here is Egypt, as was before. And maybe down here is Kush. All of this, Kush, or Ethiopia. Because this ocean used to be called Ethiopian Ocean. And in fact, the old maps show that this southern part of Africa was called Ethiopia. So that's my analysis over this. I know it's controversial, considering the kind of teaching we have been taught by our Christian churches that shows that Israel was a small part here. And that all these things like Edom, they are in the Middle East. But let's open our minds a bit and know that the maps of today, they have undergone some changes. In the ancient world, the maps were not the way they are today. For example, a country like Kenya was not the way it is today. Uganda was much bigger than Kenya. Kenya was very small. Like now Uganda was even up to Western Kenya, Kisumu, Rift Valley, all that was part of Uganda. So now colonialists are the ones who made these modern maps we have today. So in the ancient times, the maps were even much different than all this. So my fellow people, let's open our minds that there have been some very many changes. There have been some very many changes. So we shall look at much more about ancient people and even races in our next episodes. Otherwise, let me see your comments in the comment sections, and thank you very much.